Hi, I'm Alpina Singh and welcome to Check Please, the show where regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go to check them out to see what they think. This week, political consultant Patrick Fingston doesn't mince words. He says for Chicago spin on classic American fare with service that makes you feel right at home, you've got to check out his favorite spot. But publicist Michael Corrigan wants to tell everyone about his pick. He says for innovative Indian dishes with an adventurous twist, his beloved spot is a true neighborhood jewel. But up first, Professor Samina Hadi-Tabassum says she could wax poetic about the rich taste and lively vibe at her spacious spot. She says for a Japanese steakhouse experience that will seduce you with a fantastic flavor, ride into River North and stop at Roka Akor.
We feature a modern take on contemporary Japanese cuisine. We have an open kitchen where first thing you see when you walk in the door here is our wood-burning grill. You can't go wrong with any of the steaks that we feature here. Everything is prime or Japanese Wagyu cooked on that grill. Anything that comes off that grill is outstanding. Half of our kitchen is comprised of our grill and hot food. The other side is our cold plates and small dishes. Everything from maki rolls to sashimi and nigiri. This is traditional Japanese, just the most modern take you can have on it. As far as any given night, the energy in the room is always great. The sights, the smells, we have floor-to-ceiling windows, so you get a little bit of the neighborhood here. It's just a lot of fun. As everything's moving, you see the kitchen moving at full speed, you see our team in the front of the house taking care of our guests, and like I said, you see us having fun as well.
So Samina, you say that Roka Akor is remarkable. Tell us why you chose it.
So the word Roka actually means hearth, and so when you walk into the restaurant, there's a Robata grill, which is right in the center of the restaurant. And it's just an intimate space. There's these ambient candles everywhere, different types of spaces as well. There are, tables for a couple to have a intimate conversation, but then there's also large booths. There's a bar attached to it as well. But the minute you walk in, it's just a beautiful, gorgeous space. There are wonderful cold plates and hot plates. So I love the octopus that they have there with the squid ink. We get seared scallops there that are just absolutely delicious. They're just succulent and juicy. And we also get the lamb cutlets there. We also got a wonderful side dish of Brussels sprouts. And when and when it came to us, it had shavings of mackerel fish on top, and the fish were just dancing on top of these very warm Brussels sprouts. I love their mocktails and cocktails, a wide range of drinks. They have a wide range of desserts. I feel like it can meet everyone's palate.
Michael, had you heard of Roka Akor before?
I had heard of it. I work in the West Loop, so being totally honest, when I'm not working, I hate being downtown. So I had heard of it, familiar with it, had no intentions of ever going, if I'm being honest, and actually was really pleasantly surprised.
Wow, what kind of surprised you about it?
It did. So the scene I thought was very bustling, but I didn't think in a way that felt overpowering. I just went with one of my girlfriends for just a casual dinner, and I love that there was a lot of energy in the room, but it didn't undercut anyone. And honestly, I thought the food was really delicious too. I will say the Wagyu dumplings are fantastic. My friend and I were fighting each other for them. I thought they were so good.
What else did you order, Michael?
I actually had the fish, which I thought was delicious. I had the black cod. I thought it was light, just the right amount of sear. Serving size was perfect. We also had the chocolate cake thing for dessert, and it was, I thought, warm and gooey, but it had peanuts in it too. And I thought that was delicious.
Pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised. Right. I think that's what's great about Chicago. Sometimes you can have a place that you're I will never go there, and end up loving it.
Patrick?
Love-hate relationship.
There are 100 great sushi places in the city and 100 great steakhouses in the city. This one wanted to be both, but really trying to be both. It was neither, unfortunately. I wanted to love it. I really did. You know, the wood fire grill and the open kitchen when you walk in, the cocktail that I had was fantastic, one of the best I've had in quite some time, but I was just really underwhelmed by
What did
food.
you eat?
So we had the toro tartare, which had, is that really fatty part of the tuna, and the only salt you got was from the caviar. It was just dying for salt. I thought the tempura was a little underwhelming. My wife loved her sushi. I wasn't crazy about it, and then
What did she get?
She had a scallop dynamite roll, which had some crab inside the rice and a little thin piece of scallop on top. She liked it. I'm wondering where the scallop was.
Well, a Japanese steakhouse is different from an American steakhouse, right? So the meat is different, the portions are different, it's cooked differently. So I think when you look at seafood and steakhouse, it's a Japanese place. It's not an American seafood and steakhouse.
Well, let's talk about steak, shall we?
Okay.
Okay. I had the 12-ounce prime ribeye. It was tough and gristly, and
The cow did not come through that day.
The cow did not come through that. And
Did you mention it to the server?
I'm not the send it back kind of guy.
Okay.
I don't like to be that kind of guy. If that's how they cook it, that's how they cook it. And if that's how it comes out, that's how it comes out. Our server was fantastic. We went on a Saturday night, and everyone was really kind and really wonderful, and we had a great server, and it was really a really great experience in terms of service and where you were too. It was a really beautiful space.
Samina, I sometimes get almost like decision paralysis at a place like Roka. Like, do I want the steak? Do I want, the maki? Like, so what would you recommend is a good way to experience Roka?
I think you should go there with your friends, and I think you should try a little bit of everything. Try a cold plate, try a hot plate, try maybe 1 or 2 entrees, and definitely get drinks and desserts as well.
So it's a good way to just go out with the group and share a bunch of things. Would you agree, Michael?
I would totally agree. I thought the service was awesome too. Like, there was literally a moment where I told my friend where I was like, I think I blew our cover. I think they know that we're on Check Please. But then I realized, no, I think they're just really friendly.
Nice
Like, I think
all
that's
the
just their
time.
thing. I was very impressed by that.
Give us a feel for the neighborhood. I mean, this is a very exciting part of town.
It is.
What's going on?
On that corner at Clark in Illinois, there's just so many wonderful restaurants. I just feel like there's so much energy. Even on a weeknight, the restaurant was full. There are people walking around having conversations. It just feels like you're in the heart of the city.
All right, Samina, you chose Roka. Sum it up for us.
It's a wonderful Japanese restaurant with a great ambient environment, delicious food, and a wide range of choice.
Michael?
I would say lively atmosphere, tasty food, and much better than I expected.
Patrick?
Great space, great service. Could be better with the food.
Well, you can try the steak and much more at Roka, 456 North Clark Street, 312-477-7652. They're open for dinner every day and lunch during the week. Reservations are accepted. And the average dinner tab per person without drinks is $55. Michael Corrigan says, in a city where there's always a hot new restaurant to check out, he was thrilled to find a place in his own neighborhood that deliciously surprises him every time. He says that for infinitely interesting Indian-inspired plates in a cheerful space, head to Edgewater and make your way to Mango Pickle.
Mango pickle is my personal expression of Indian food, the way I experienced it and reinterpreted it from my time living in India. Our food is authentic to us. What we like to do is take the dish, take the region where it's from, and take what is distinct about that region's way of cooking and bring that forward when we make the dishes. The presentation of the plate is important to us because it's our way of expressing our love of the ingredients of the food, our love of what we do. I would like our customers to feel at home, feel relaxed, and well nourished, and like their taste buds have been well satisfied. A customer wrote to us and said that you are playful and unafraid, and I would say that was the best compliment.
So Michael, you say that mango pickle is magnificent. Tell us why you chose it.
Absolutely love it. So I do. I live in the neighborhood. And I feel like before I had heard about mango pickle, like you always go down to like Argyle Street or Bryn Mawr or Clark Street in Andersonville. That stretch of Broadway just like doesn't get a lot of action, not a ton of street traffic. Mm-hmm. So when I read about it and we tried it out, I absolutely just fell in love with it. I feel like it's really rare to have a spot that feels both neighborhoody and like come as you are, casual, but also just chef-driven, doing really cool, inventive things, and then also just has like beautiful presentation. I mean, it is, like a buzzy restaurant. It's the Michelin Bib Gourmand, whatever. I don't even know what that is fully, but I know it's fancy.
Chef Marissa is actually of Italian heritage, but her husband is, she married into the culture. Her husband is from India, and they actually lived in India for almost 10 years. And so she taught herself Indian food, but sort of just modern, more upscale interpretation of these Indian flavors. I know that they change their menu a lot, but like
Yep.
on this particular visit,
Yep.
what did you have?
We had the paneer to start, which I thought was absolutely delicious. We also had the samosa, which I loved. We had the lamb belly. We had pork vindaloo too.
Did you like the pork vindaloo?
I did. I thought it was delicious. I feel like just the right amount of kicks. And then we had the coconut dessert too, which I thought was great. Delicious. And I'm not a big coconut person either, and I loved it.
Well, Samina, you're no stranger to eating food. What'd you think?
Well, when I heard of the name Mango Pickle, I thought it was going to be this Proustian moment where I was going to walk in and I was going to have food that I grew up with. Not the case. When I walked in, it was a bit kitschy. The environment looked familiar to many of the Bombay restaurants. You'll see posters of Bollywood stars. There's Indian music playing. But it really is an experimental restaurant. We had ordered the unwrapped samosa. When I think of samosa, I think of a triangular treat.
Yep.
Not the case. Out came this giant wheel, and it had the breading on the side, and it had squash as the middle. I did love the flavors, but it was just too deconstructed for me.
Too far apart.
Too far apart for me. And then we ordered the walleye, which was delicious. And we had the saag paneer, and then we also had the lamb bun. So it was just like morsels of lamb in a pastry, and then it was topped with arugula. So very different from what I thought it would be. But the portions were not enough for us, and we felt really hungry afterward.
Well, we had the samosa too, and I really enjoyed it. I guess I didn't care about the authenticity of it necessarily. Like Michael, I'm not an experienced Indian food eater. I'm the buffets with the panak paneer and tandoori chicken. And that said, I know what tastes good, I know what doesn't taste good, and there were hit and miss things here. There were some very good dishes and some dishes that I was wondering what it even was.
So, what did you have?
We started with the samosa that I thought was very good. It did have a little spice to it.
Yeah.
The pork vindaloo, along with the naan bread, were the highlight of the night.
My favorite too.
Was it really spicy though? Because vindaloo is a go-in dish actually, and
Right.
it's got vinegar in it, so it's like spicy, vinegary, really intense.
It was a sweet and spicy combination. If it wouldn't have been inappropriate in public, I probably would have been licking the serving dish to
I was
finish it.
literally thinking the same thing.
It was that
The
good.
vindaloo guy. Yeah.
But it came. We also had a mustard green sog with it,
Yeah.
and that was a 180. It was bland.
We ordered the sog as well, and the sog was pureed into this kind of creamy texture at the bottom. Then it was covered in Chinese broccoli. So I was like, oh my God, Chinese broccoli and Indian sog.
But are the flavors authentic?
The flavors are definitely authentic. The hostess had brought over a pot of rice for us to share, and it was cooked with cloves and cardamom, which is something I would have done. In the garam masala in the lamb, I could taste that as well.
Michael, you had mentioned something about Mango Pickle for all the accolades they're getting and the write-ups, that a lot of people still don't know about it.
Yeah, I still feel like it has a little bit of like an under the radar like buzz to it too, you know, so I feel like especially if you want to go up to Edgewater or if you were in the neighborhood, you absolutely need to try this place out.
All right, Michael, you chose Mango Pickle. Sum it up for us.
I would say inventive, inviting, the crown jewel of Broadway in Edgewater.
Patrick.
If you're gonna go, get the pork vindaloo.
All right. Samina.
It was a little too experimental for a native.
All right. Well, you can try the pork vindaloo and much more at Mango Pickle, 5842 North Broadway, 773-944-5555. They're open for dinner Wednesday to Sunday. Reservations are accepted. And the average dinner tab per person without drinks is $30. When it comes to dining out, Patrick Bingston appreciates a straightforward approach, great food, friendly service, and an unpretentious atmosphere, and he says his retro cool selection hits all the marks. He says for tasting American fare done the Chicago way, head to the Theater District and drop in at the Dearborn.
We want to make sure that when people come in, it's almost like coming into our home. We really focus on exceptional service with genuine Irish hospitality.
The Dearborn is just such a fusion of upscale American cuisine with time-worn classic comfort food where it's appropriate for any occasion. I just think that, give the people what they want, and especially when it comes to our Midwestern concept, it's simple, fun, and not complex.
I think it's like the small touches people experience in here that we've heard over and over again that they haven't experienced in other restaurants.
Hospitality is easy when you know how. It's really just that we exceeded the guest expectations, and that's our goal every day when we come to work.
That's great. That's what we want. Patrick, you say that the Dearborn is delightful. Tell us why you chose it.
I think the Dearborn is one of the simplest, most likable restaurants in the city. It is straightforward and tasty and unpretentious and everything that I like about a restaurant. I found it for the first time for dinner after a Bears game. I stumbled in on a Sunday evening waiting for my train back out to the suburbs and walked in and thought, wow, this place is great, and had a great service and really great fish and chips and enjoyed my time there and thought, this will be a really nice lunch spot. Yeah. So outside of a regular straight up fried chicken joint, the Dearborn may have the best fried chicken in the city at a regular American type restaurant. It is crispy, crunchy on the outside, great, flavorful, juicy. It's really wonderful. The Parmesan truffle fries, great to get just a bowl of those for a table at lunch. They're really just fantastic.
So delicious.
Love the burger. The Dearborn burger is fantastic. The fish and chips are what the chef is known for. You can also go a little lighter, especially at lunch, with a salad or the salmon as well. But there's no bad dish on the menu.
Samina and Michael, you both went for brunch.
We did. We were there at the same time.
I love the fact that they had a jazz band there performing. It was just wonderful. I loved the atmosphere in there, high ceilings, wonderful lighting.
Yeah.
A lot of
lighting.
Yes.
I was in a best way possible. It looks like a lighting shop in there. Like
Yeah, it
every
totally
single
does.
type of light bulb, light sconce imaginable. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love the high ceilings. I love all the light. I went during the day when it was sunny, so there was great natural light. It feels like both comfortable, but also like elevated and chic at the same time.
Samina, what'd you eat?
Well, my twins ordered a cinnamon roll French toast. It was this fortress, this circular fortress. It looked like a souffle, absolutely delicious, and it was topped with whipped cream, which made them quite happy. And then my teenager ordered a 3 stacked apple pancakes. That was just phenomenal. They were so fluffy and light and delicious, and there was enough for us to take home. My husband had ordered the hamburger, and that was a 2-patty hamburger, so he was quite happy as well. And I had a buffalo chicken, and the sauce was absolutely delicious. But the menu was a bit limiting. There weren't enough options for vegetarians, so my daughter's a vegetarian, so she just had a few options to choose from.
I had the crab Benedict, which I thought was delicious. We had the pastry of the day. I also had the bone marrow and the eggs, which I was excited to see on the menu. I thought it was like pretty flavorless. Like it just wasn't really my jam. I will say overall the food for me was like fine. You know, I loved the atmosphere. I thought the service was great. I loved our server, just attentive enough, friendly, made recommendations, and pushed me to get this like apple mocktail soda that they made, which I would have never ordered, and I ended up loving it.
I think a lot of the hospitality is driven by the Lawless sisters, and they're really attentive to service and, you know, just really active members of the community as well.
You can tell that they put a focus on service.
Yes.
When you go to a place like the Dearborn and you feel welcome when you get there, and you feel like the people serving you actually, you know,
Wanna be
like
there.
to have you there, it really makes the dining experience better.
So Patrick, ever like just hanging out at the bar?
Well, see, these guys like their mocktails. I like the hard stuff, and I judge a place by their old fashioned. If you can make a good whiskey drink for me, I'm gonna like you.
All right,
and these
so
guys make
what's a good
wonderful.
old fashioned?
You've got to have first quality whiskey, of course, and
So they have a lot of whiskey.
and they do.
Yeah.
They mix it well too, and it was a very classic, tasty, really straightforward drink.
Yeah, I also like how they have the bar kind of separated from the rest of the restaurant.
I don't think there's a bad seat in the house with the old leather booths, the old looking leather booths, and
So comfortable.
and those kind of old looking, is it parquet kind of looking floors, and it's really a neat space all the way around.
And like great additional seating in the bar area. Like it's not like if you're not sitting at the bar, then you're, you know,
Missing out.
Yeah, so that is great too.
Would you go back?
Yes, with a caveat. I would not travel to go there, but if I am going to shopping on State Street or I'm going to the theater and you want to find me before, you know exactly where to find
So
me.
this will
I'll
be
be
your
there.
go-to spot for the theater now.
Absolutely.
All right. What about you, Sabina?
We are a theater family as well, and I thought there were many kid-friendly items on the menu, so I think everyone walks away happy.
All right, Patrick, you chose the Dearborn. Sum it up for us.
Lunch, dinner, drinks before or after the theater. Anything you have at the Dearborn is going to be a good visit.
All right. Samina?
Loved it, would go back with my family again, delicious.
All right. And Michael?
Easygoing, comfort, wouldn't travel for it, but you'll catch me there before my next show.
Right. Well, you can try the fried chicken for yourself at the Dearborn, 145 North Dearborn Street, 312-384-1242. They're open for lunch and dinner every day and brunch on the weekends. Reservations are accepted, and the average dinner tab per person without drinks is $40. So in this week's show, we featured Roka Akor on Clark, Mango Pickle on Broadway, and the Dearborn on Dearborn. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we took off to Clark Street and stopped by Roka Akor. Samina recommends it for delicious and varied Japanese cuisine and intimate ambiance. Michael was happily surprised by the lively atmosphere and tasty plates. Patrick loved the space and service, but thought the food was mediocre. Next, we beat feet down Broadway and made our way to Mango Pickle. Michael recommends it for inventive, inviting Indian in a cozy neighborhood spot. Patrick wasn't wowed by the food, but loved the pork vindaloo. Samina found the unconventional dishes to be a bit too experimental for her. Lastly, we voyaged to Dearborn Street and dropped in at the Dearborn. Patrick recommends it for warm, unpretentious service and Midwestern menu. Samina loved the brunch offerings and jazzy atmosphere. Michael said it's the perfect place to go before a show. We've had just a wonderful time this week, and I'd like to thank my guests Samina Hadi-Tabassum, Michael Corrigan, and Patrick Fingston. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Alpina Singh, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.